All right, hello everybody. This is Mr. Lee, and I'm reporting to you from Beijing, China. Today I'd like to talk about what it's like being an English teacher in China. No, I don't need to go to a gym, but that's okay. He's saying I'm too fat. I don't know where to put this. I can't litter. Where am I going to put it? Trash can. I will find a trash can for this. Now, when you are an English teacher in China, you're mainly teaching children most of the time. That's where some would say the money is. And when you teach children, well, who's your employer? The parents. So today I'm going to talk about 3 things that Chinese parents look for when they're hiring an English hiring an English teacher for their, oh look, I found a trash can. Nice. Anyways, 3 things that Chinese parents look for when they're hiring an English teacher. Now, before I begin, I would like to make it very clear that these ideas are not my own, and these ideas do not belong to BlingABC. So number 1, when a Chinese parent is hiring a foreign teacher to be their child's English teacher, the first thing they're looking for is that you look like a foreigner. And not just any foreigner, you gotta look like the right kind of foreigner. So we're talking about the Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston type, you know, the typical blonde hair, blue eyes, or light brown hair and blue eyes and big nose and like a protruding brow, that kind. So the more your brow protrudes, the better. For example, if you're an ABC, American-born Chinese, you might not get the job, you know, because you don't look foreign enough. To them, you know, you gotta look the job, you gotta look the part in order to play the part. You're probably thinking, you're Asian. How come you don't have any issues getting work in China? The reason being is because I'm actually mixed. I am a mudblood.
You filthy little mudblood.
To you guys, I may look like an Asian. Well, to most people in the West, I would look like an Asian. And to everyone basically in China and in Asia, I look like a Westerner. So I've never really run into any issues. Unless there is a white guy and he interviews for the same job as I do at the same exact time, and we go to the interview and I'm standing there next to him, and then by comparison, I become Asian, and then I don't get the job. We are in the Zhong district of Beijing. For those of you who do not know what that means, this is like, I don't know if I want to compare it to Silicon Valley, but it's similar. All the big name companies are here, you know, all the big tech companies and the AI startups, they're all here in this area. You have companies like Google. Oh, look, there's Microsoft right there. Microsoft. It literally means Microsoft in Chinese. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Do you speak English?
No.
No? Have you ever heard of Xindongfang? Yeah. Maybe you should go there. And then you will speak English. Yeah. Look, it's right behind us. Yeah, look. So 巧 that you are right here and you don't speak English. And I can introduce you to a great English teaching company. I don't want to. This guy is on the sidewalk. He's on the sidewalk with his little bike. So we're in this district right now with all these big buildings around us. That's because this is a tech district in Beijing. All the IT guys work here. So let's talk about number 2, okay? So not only do you have to look like the right kind of foreigner, you have to sound like a foreigner. And you guessed it, the right kind of foreigner too. That means they're gonna want to hire people from places like America, Canada, UK, Australia, or New Zealand, places like that. That's the type of accent that they're looking for. Some parents don't even accept accents like Australian accents or New Zealand accents. They think it's too strong or not neutral enough. We're approaching this area right now. This is called Shibaojie. Shibaojie is a place where everyone goes out at lunchtime to grab a bite to eat. It's really convenient. In about 20 minutes, this place will be swarming with people. And let me just show you guys the inside of this place here. One thing I never got about China is these little flaps that they put near the doors. Hi. It's like a meat factory. You know, some of them are actually plastic, like the meat factory. Like the meat factory flaps. So you can get all sorts of yummy snacks and different types of food here. So it's like a maze. And there's so many restaurants. You really can't have the same thing twice in 1 year. People lining up. So sometimes people will order their food and they'll just sit at a bar around the restaurant and they'll eat there. So let me get out of here first and then I'll continue on with number 2. Oh, correct accents. Now, is that racist? I don't believe that's racist because here's the thing. Your skin color is something you can't really change. But, you know, your accent, it can change. Your accent can be changed. I myself, when I started studying Chinese, had a very strange accent. The first time my wife heard me speak Chinese in front of her, she just burst out laughing. And she says, "You sound like a quote unquote." And I was like, okay, I'm gonna excuse you for that because you don't know that word is actually a pretty strong word in English. I told her, don't say that. I actually went back and listened to the audio, to some of the videos of me speaking Chinese from before, and I actually do sound very strange. And I didn't understand it at first, but now I do. After being in China for a while, and I studied Chinese for a while, I changed my accent, I fixed my accent to the point where some Chinese people, they cannot tell that I am a foreigner when they listen to me on the phone. Now, if we talk about, you know, something deep, or if we talk for like maybe 10 hours or so, then it's gonna come out. And if they see my face, then they'll know right away. But they can't tell, you know, that's because I can change my accent. People can change their accents, you know. So I don't think it's really a racist thing. Some people are not very happy about this. They're like, oh, these parents are racist. These companies are discriminating against these countries, you know. But here's the thing. If you were to hire a Chinese teacher, you would definitely want to look for a native Chinese speaker. You wouldn't even want to look for a native Chinese speaker that grew up somewhere outside of mainland China. It's just not something that you want. You may not know it, but their accent is not very professional. You would not hire a person who has a strong northeastern accent to be a news anchor for CCTV. Just like you wouldn't hire my grandpa from the mountains of West Virginia to be a CNN news anchor. If you want to study Chinese, you would want to find a person that could teach you how to speak professionally and then not be ridiculed and not sound silly. What if you're looking for your soulmate or a girlfriend or boyfriend and you want to speak Chinese, you know, you don't want to sound silly. Although some girls think that's cute, you know. But I think if you speak with a good accent, it can be very attractive. People like that. You can have a good conversation. So in the West, there's a right of way for pedestrians. But in China, there just isn't that same concept. So number 1 is you got to look like a foreigner, the right kind. You got to speak like a foreigner. And number 3 is you have to teach like a Chinese. You thought I was gonna say foreigner. I gotcha. If you guys watched Bling on the Street episode 2, you can see that I interviewed a few people or parents. They see that the traditional methods are not working. They went through it, they experienced it themselves. Okay, so they understand traditional methods, memorize. They're very happy. Memorize, test, homework. They see that doesn't work. So they're not very into the traditional methods anymore, but there's still a trace of the old them left behind. A lot of times when you teach English in China, you're gonna run into parents who will watch the class and they will be like, my child made this mistake 5 minutes and 24 seconds into class and you didn't correct him. You should correct my child. Every single time he makes a mistake, whether pronunciation or grammar, you must correct him or her. You know, if we're friends and every time you come around me and I think you did something wrong, I'm gonna correct you. Every single time. You're not gonna wanna be friends with me after a while. You're gonna be very annoyed at me. When you first start to learn a language, you're gonna make mistakes every single time you open your mouth. If I correct a child every time he opens his mouth, he's not gonna open his mouth anymore. People are like that. They become discouraged very easily. So we know that that's not a good method. We correct them when it's important, but when it's just a minor issue, we don't really correct them. We just want to encourage them to talk. It is a little bit more quiet now than it was before. That's because lunchtime is basically over. Everyone's back in their offices, in their cubicles. You know, there's no concept of cubicles in in China. It's kind of like an open space. Everyone works together. No cubicles. All right, everybody. So that is basically the 3 requirements that Chinese parents have for an English teacher who's going to be teaching English to their child. Those standards are impossible to meet for some people and very hard for others, which is the bad news. The good news is this, is that China is changing. People are changing. They're actually beginning to realize that there are people out there who are not white from America that can speak. There's our infamous shame screen. You can find work in China, no problem, because the demand for teachers is just so ridiculously high. If you liked the video, if it was informative, please like it and forward it like it's hot. That was a Michael Scott reference. If you have any suggestions, leave them below in the comment box. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook at BlingABC. You know, our YouTube account and our Facebook account is there for you guys, because believe it or not, Chinese people cannot access those websites. So our channels are there for you guys to enjoy. I plan to make more videos on the streets of China to show you guys what life in China is like, what the environment is like. I'll make sure to get out of this business district and show you guys some of the cultural centers. Maybe talk to you guys about the history and the culture and the language and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's it. See you later, alligator.